are leading the institution, but they are not following Christ. So wherever God stations you, in the schools, in government, in business, in corporate, in the social environment, everywhere that God, in economics, globally, wherever God places us. Remember, before you are a manager, before you are a CEO, before you are a politician, you are a disciple, and everything else that comes will find you occupying your position as a disciple. So everything else that comes will find that foundation that you are there. We need you to be intentional about leading. When you are not intentional about leading, we end up being led by people with a lower capacity than yours. When you refuse to lead us in politics, when you refuse to lead us in the church, when you refuse to lead us in the corporate world, people who are of a lower capacity, people who don't have the capacity to lead people and allow them to shine, will lead us and want to dim our lights, because you, with the greater capacity, you step back. Leadership is not easy. Leadership for many of us, especially for women, is not an obvious choice. So when I started leading, and most of my leadership, I think I started it here when I was at Vets. In high school, I think I didn't really understand the concept of leading, and also my disadvantage was that I was the youngest in school. So maybe sometimes people just like, oh, and then they don't take you seriously when you're trying to lead them. So that did not necessarily work very well for me. But when I was at CAF and I was introduced to the teams and to things like the Constitution, I never thought a girl from Witwatersrand meant the Constitution. I never. I remember we were sitting there, speaking very complicated English. And when I tried to think about where I come from, where there's no plumbing, I was like, this is amazing. So only when I came to CAF did my eyes start to open to what it could mean for a girl like me to lead. And I stood for leadership as it vibe? No, it was social action. Is it still the same? Social action. And I stood with a guy called Limpopo. I was not popular. I had just come into CAF and I lost. And it could carry, yeah. I've been suspecting when they don't like me. Now they proved it with the ballots. And I thank God for that loss. Because after that time, I've never had to stand with anyone. And maybe it will sound like I'm boasting, but CAF, there's nothing to boast about. They never even paid us. They used to give us Mali biscuit and some juice called Wild Island or something like that, which up to this day, I do not drink that juice. Are you still drinking it? In 2018. No. Not drinking liquid fruit. CAF juice and Mali biscuit. At least I hope you are having the baker's ones. Because with us, we're even eating from Mali biscuits. They were not even the proper thing. Because after that, as I was saying, I stood uncontested. But I thank God, because every time if I say I'm standing for something, then people don't stand anymore. Because I don't know if I was intimidating them into not standing, or they were just saying, no, you are the right leader. I don't know what. Or I was just fortunate if no one else was interested in the position. I was the only one who's interested. But there's one thing that today when I was thinking about that time when I lost, that I thought about. A lot of people, when they lose elections at CAF, they don't serve in the year that they lost. Because you are always standing for selfish reasons. So when your selfishness gets exposed, you must rise above it. There's nothing wrong. Because it hurts, guys, to lose elections. You are writing there your manifesto, being saying powerful things. After you've written all your powerful things, they still don't vote for you. And when you listen to the other person's manifesto, your election doesn't sound as powerful as yours, but they still choose the other person. So God is also dealing with our egos. So firstly, for you to put yourself out there and say, guys, allow me to lead you. You put yourself in a very vulnerable position. this year, have the humility to wait another year. Don't say they didn't choose me, I'll never stand again. Don't say they didn't choose me and go and join, let me mention the churches I know, JTL, or go and join LGTG, or go and join Change, but you can come and join CJC. So we need those humbling moments so that they can reveal to us where the ego, selfish ambition are at play in our lives. Because we need to deal with those things so that they can allow us to be servant leaders. Amen. Secondly, for most of us, especially women, and this may apply to some of the guys, especially who come from a more conservative background, especially rural backgrounds where you are not supposed to be too out there and to be, I'm the leader, I'm the boss, let's do it. Like where you lead more as a collective. Whereas in the suburbs, they're just like my way or the highway. But there in the villages, you are trying to lobby everyone so that you can decide when to bury your grandmother, but it's your grandmother. You know, so for those of us who come from those conservative environments, we don't lead in a very confrontational way. We lead collectively, so as to say. So if you come from those environments, confrontation is very difficult. It's very difficult for you to stand in front of a person and say you are not performing. It's very difficult for you to stand in front of a person and say you will not talk to people like that. Let me give you an example, and I've diverted from my text. So I had this brilliant idea, well, not my most brilliant, but one of the lesser brilliant ones, that we are going to do a prison ministry. We found a prison called Prosperfontein. I got the girls together and we drove to Prosperfontein. When we arrived in Prosperfontein, we had platters. I told them that they must dress in their most loose clothes that make them look like old mamas. Because we were going to a prison with the men and I do not want anybody's flesh or anything close to a flesh that is showing. If you could wear those Muslim things, wear them. Then we made platters and we arrived in prison. I don't know what we were expecting. And when we arrived in prison, there was one warden who took us to the maximum side of the prison, kept opening doors and closing behind us, opening doors with a huge key like this, opening doors and closing behind us. By the time we were done, we had arrived at the maximum section. It was there's 5 of us, or was it 10 of us? I don't remember if we were going in 1 or 2 cars. I think it was the 5 of us. It was the 5 of us, and we were sitting around the table with 12 prisoners and 1 warden who did not have a gun. And as we were sitting there, they said to us, before we start with the program, we would like to introduce ourselves to you. They started, my name is whoever. I was an Inca, a hitman for the taxi drivers. I don't know the number of guys that I've killed. Now the faith, all the faith. That is when I noticed that the warden did not have a gun. The other one, I killed my girlfriend because she tried to dump me. The other one is a serial rapist. Like, you know, that fellow we had in maximum. Us and I don't know where we left our brains, but we actually wrote on the attendance register and we wrote our names and surnames and our cell numbers. So after that, we did not even eat the food because as soon as we opened the platters, they ate everything, including the lettuces that we had used to garnish the food. And they told me that, I mean, they don't know the last time they saw a lettuce because there's no lettuce in prison apparently. So we didn't even eat, we just figured we'd eat at home. So after that, okay, we left, it was a good meeting, we decided that we were going to work with them. When we arrived at home, they started harassing the girls. Because remember, we put our phone numbers on the attendance register. They started calling the girls, say, I want to marry you. I mean, one of the girls, they even sent her a parcel, flowers at her work in Nelspruit. So this guy found her address and sent a parcel, flowers, and I don't remember what else at her workplace. And I had to call that one who said he was a serial killer because he was the chairperson of their organization. And I called him and I told him very sternly, get your boys off my girls. Tell them they must never call any of those girls again or they will have me to deal with. With what? And I was very stern. And when he was trying to explain himself, I was explaining to him how unacceptable it is. And at the end of that conversation, he apologized. He told me that he will speak to them personally. And he hung up and they stopped harassing the girls. But let me tell you, when I was on that phone, Nikki shake like this. But I had to make sure that my voice does not show how scared, because I'm just thinking, what if he says, I'm going to send my voice after you? I'm just like, because there I am saying they will have me. So you may not have to face something that drastic. You may not have to face something that dangerous. But any time that you put yourself in a position to lead, you are putting yourself in a position to do things that are uncomfortable. And many of us, because we are afraid of doing the things that are uncomfortable, we vacate our place of leadership and we never do what God has called us to do. Let's go back to our text. We have 10 minutes. So when God calls them, he says, when Jesus calls them, he says, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. So when God calls them, he already tells them that he is calling them to a place of leadership. He doesn't say, I'm going to prepare you and see if you can fish men. He doesn't say, no, top 3 out of you will be fishers of men. He makes the objective clear from the beginning. Follow me and I will make you fishers of men. So you may have been born again yesterday or last week or a month ago or a year ago. You may feel like you don't know enough scriptures. You don't really hear the voice of the Lord. But wherever you are, the minute you decide to follow Christ, you place yourself in a place of leadership, because every time when there is darkness, you are the one person that brings the light, and the light brings with it leadership. Because people must always gravitate towards you as the light in a dark place. So you automatically assume a place of leadership. So when God calls us, I know that there's a wide variety of vision here, different visions. Whatever it is that God calls you to, God is calling you to a place of leadership. Just because you are following in one area does not mean you will follow in every area. So many of us who are used to following are even ceding the place where we are supposed to be leaders to another person. So, for example, when they are singing, I follow. When they are playing the keyboard, maybe I don't even feature. You know, when they are doing whatever, when they are ushering, I follow. But when they are, if let's say at CJC there's an ex-committee, it doesn't matter that Lindy is the chairperson. When I'm there in my capacity as a leader. They can't ask me, Pastor Mantsha, where must we go? Okay, let me go and consult at the bishop. There's no bishop.